Welcome into the Thunder basketball universe. This podcast is dedicated to one Aaron Wiggins. Wiggs, our guy who has been saving basketball his entire life, apparently.
According to Chet Holmgren, in one of those late season playoff end of season interviews, post game interviews, he said, Aaron Wiggins, save basketball.
Saves basketball.
And I know that's been a theme for Thunder fans around here for a long time.
For sure.
Yeah.
So it's just a lovable person on this Thunder on this Thunder roster. And so we've got a lot to break down from Aaron's season because he showcased a lot of different things. He was a really critical piece off the bench for OKC this season. And so let's get into it with the stat of the season for Mr. Aaron Wiggins. Nick, what did you choose?
Mine is 56%.
That is Aaron Wiggins' career shooting percentage.
It seems like it. It's definitely up there, but this is his 3-point percentage above the break.
Oh, wow.
Season,
okay.
Which is just absurd.
Incredible.
He shot 40% from three on the year, but to shoot 56% above the break, this is now 2 years in a row that Aaron has shot better from above the break than he has from the corners, which is a very unique skill set. The corner three is typically the higher percentage 3-point shot for most players.
Yeah.
Aaron, really proficient from the angles from those parts of the court that typically you don't get a lot of great spacing from, really high percentage shooting from.
And also, it's just within the flow of especially the Thunder offense, those above the break threes are typically the pick and pop actions. Yep. Those are transition kind of trail threes. Yep. And so those are harder threes to shoot in general. Corner threes, you're set. Typically a drive, kick, or like a one more extra pass to the corner three. So you're pretty set and ready to go.
And extremely valuable for the Thunder to have someone so proficient from that area of the floor. Mm-hmm. From a spacing standpoint, that then allows you to put someone like Chet in the corner, or someone like Isaiah Joe or J-Dub in the corner, places where they're a little bit more efficient. Jay Will, much more efficient from the corner than maybe above the break. That's very normal. Kaysen Wallace, great example. So, that when you're orienting your style of play and you're orienting when you've got certain guys on the floor, Mark Daigneault, that gives him some optionality for like, hey, we can have on the same side of the floor, we can have Aaron and we can have Kaysen Wallace on the same side. Maybe that weak side has those two guys, and then you've got some other action, and you can flip that ball across on a skip pass. It's like, you've got two good opportunities. Yeah,
it's such incredible versatility for Aaron to be able to have, obviously, the defensive prowess that he has, the length, the agility to be able to jump in those passing lanes, but also knock down threes, play off the catch, play off the dribble, get those cuts that he is so elite at. I mean, like, truly, Aaron needs to teach a masterclass on backdoor cutting.
Oh, unbelievable.
On just movement without the ball, because he's got a great nose for it. Your stat kind of feeds into my stat, and mine is 8.
Games that Aaron Wiggins made at least 4 threes.
That is, you like the first half of that sentence, I thought you were going to get it.
Okay.
The number of games that Aaron shot 100% from the field.
Oh my gosh. He shot 100% from the field 8 times.
And only one of them, and I was I looked at multiple different players. This is a higher number, right? Okay. But what makes it so great is only one of those games were 1 field goal attempt games.
Okay.
So the rest of them were multiple.
Attempts.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Like 2 or more. Yeah. And I just thought that was so indicative of Aaron's minutes. Efficient.
Yep.
And just completely impactful in whatever he's given. We're going to make the most of it.
And somehow in rhythm.
Yes.
Despite, not getting a lot of attempts. I'll never forget talking to Nick Collison years and years ago about the challenge of his role, a challenge of a role of a guy that's coming in and playing 10 minutes a night. Mm-hmm. He said the hardest thing to do for a player in that role is to be efficient in those minutes, to be efficient on low shot attempts. Yeah. And it makes total sense. I mean, you're out there and you're running around, you've been sitting on the bench cold, and the ball hits your hands a few times, and you shoot it only twice.
Yeah.
Or you shoot it 3 times. And Nick used to say, can you go in 10 minutes and be, 3 for 4? Mm-hmm. And if the difference between going in and being 1 for 4 and going in and being 3 for 4 is massive. And Aaron Wiggins so often is the guy that goes in and he's 3 for 4. And then what you're pointing out is sometimes he's perfect.
Yeah. And this is basically 10% of his games.
Yeah.
1 out of 10 games, you are not going to see a miss from Aaron Wiggins.
Crazy.
It's just wild to think about. That doubled is something that made me look. But let's get into what made us look for Wiggs this season.
Yeah.
Mine, everything. Not everything made me look.
Well, it made Mark Daigneault look.
Everything made Mark Daigneault look, because this was his answer to what is Aaron's, like, what's his thing? What's he best at?
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah, Aaron Wiggins is really good at everything.
Kind of a Swiss Army knife, jack of all trades, throw him in any situation. And to your point, Aaron's role just kind of wavered throughout the entire season. Sometimes he would play a lot of minutes off the bench. He would play really strong rotation minutes. Sometimes he wouldn't be in the rotation at all. No minutes. And in everything in between. And so for Aaron, it was like, I don't know what my time on the floor is going to look like. I don't know what my role is going to look like out there on the floor, whether I'm going to be more of a defender, more of a ball handler. I don't know what it's going to look like, but I'm going to go out there and you're going to get the best version of Aaron Wiggins.
Yeah.
And I can fill any hole, I fill any gap that you need out here. And that's everything. And he brought it up in his end of season interview. Somebody asked, like, Mark said that you're good at everything. And he just, like, he said, first of all, I just want to tell you, I just want to let you know, this is very real with us for a second. He was like, I just want to let you know that Jay Will heard that, and he heard that Mark said everything, and now he's just calling me everything all the time. It's like, oh, here comes everything.
Here comes everything. Yeah, this is the relationship that these guys have. It's literally like you and your friends, where, like, you can't get away with anything. And it's great because that's how you all, like, mess with each other. But, like, as soon as that happened, it's like, oh, we gotta get, like, and Aaron's never heard the end of it.
Exactly.
And that's exactly how it should be amongst a group of people.
Oh, look, like, it's everything.
Yeah. So, I mean, you and your buddies from high school or college or whatever, that's how these guys are too.
Great nickname. I have no beef with it. No notes whatsoever. Okay. What made you look?
Game 1 versus Dallas, 16 points off the bench.
Awesome.
You're playing in front of just an unbelievable environment here at Paycom Center. Mm-hmm. It's the first game of the second round of the playoffs. You're the youngest team to have ever won an NBA playoff series. And in the second half, really both halves, Aaron Wiggins made a huge impact in that game, but really was able to help kind of put the hammer down on Dallas in that game 1. And as a Thunder fan, you had to be feeling really great about where this team was after a game 1 win by 20 plus points. And of course, series unfolds as it does. But what a moment for a player who was a second round pick, a late second round pick, former two-way player, to be a massive factor on national TV in the playoffs, figuring massively in a win like this.
He was 5 of 7, 3 of 4 from the 3-point line. And I'm just thinking to myself, kind of the poise and composure that's required for something like that. Especially if all season long you've been, up and down in your minutes, and then boom, all of a sudden here's 23 minutes in a Western Conference semifinal in front of the loudest crowd I've ever played in. And you deliver like this. Unbelievable poise. Yeah,
and meanwhile, he was getting really his first taste of defending playoff Kyrie Irving, playoff Luka Doncic when he got some minutes switched onto him as well. Mm-hmm. Like, these are real assignments that Aaron Wiggins has had to take on. As you said in your everything made you look, like, one of the things that the Thunder coaching staff challenged him to do was to be able to defend high-level players so that he could become a playoff caliber player.
Right.
We weren't necessarily sure that Aaron Wiggins could be that guy. Nobody was. He was. I mean, all of this was unknowable 24 months ago, 12 months ago. But given the work that he's put in to his body, to his, preparation, to his shot, to all of this, he has turned himself from the 50-some pick in the draft, 55th, I think, to a playoff rotation player.
Yeah. And Coach Daigneault gave Aaron so much credit for his ability to just work on that, to be able to guard these, high usage on ball, players. Yep. Because Aaron was so good at, like, kind of lurking in the shadows, kind of being a great help defender, getting those, sneaky steals every once in a while. But his minutes on Kyrie got switched on to Luka a couple of times. Like, those minutes for Aaron, really, really strong, and really showed his growth. Yeah. Let's get into Aaron's Shay That Again.
This was kind of following up on that playoff environment.
Our fans are one of a kind. Everybody wears the shirts. That's awesome. Like that's super dope. That alone just kind of shows the collectiveness that not only our team has, but like the people behind us, the people who like root for us and stuff like that. Goes a long way.
The Thunder has always talked about being an embodiment of the community and about, being a leader in the community. And I think what this year's team really showed was the power of collectiveness. And that's what Aaron's talking about here. The power of togetherness, the power of camaraderie. That was reciprocated by the fan base in the playoffs. And Sam Presti talked about it in his end of season interview about, hey, this group of fans, they delivered with pride and with passion. Yeah. And I think that's what Aaron was sort of reflecting on, is like what we gave all season, what the fans delivered to us all season. All of that really came together in a nice orchestra in the playoffs, and everybody showed like what can be produced, the power of that collectiveness.
If you thought it was just a t-shirt, no, that XL white cotton t-shirt is one of the most powerful things in the NBA and the Thunder, and all of the environment inside of Paycom Center is so impactful. It makes a difference out there. It's the reason why the Thunder won games inside of this building, is because of all of that energy. And those guys, they recognize every single person is wearing that t-shirt. That means they are in it with us. That's your uniform, basically. Yeah. Like, you're suiting up with the team on the court. This
year was the 9th year of playoffs that I was able to be in person. We had the 1 year in the bubble. And I've been to a lot of different playoff environments, seen almost every Western Conference playoff environment that you can see. And I just have to say, like, this one is different and special. Its collective nature is what makes it different and special. You can argue who's the loudest, who's the whateverest, but there's nothing like Paycom Center. And this is what Aaron's trying to talk about and trying to tap into.
United, collective. Everyone pulling in the same direction. Right. That's what you get inside of Paycom Center. Here's my quote for Aaron.
I feel like I'm ready to start today. Like get right back in the gym and get to work today. So you could definitely take that pain and just kind of, move with it and keep it, tuck it in your back pocket and be ready to apply those feelings and the energy to, when you're working out and, preparing for next season.
This is coming from a guy who had just played in a game 6 24 hours before that. Flew from Dallas to Oklahoma City, and this is the next morning. Right. I'm ready to hit it. Ready to hit it again. Just ready to go. Yeah. And in my mind, I'm like, aren't you tired? Yeah. Don't you want to rest first? But no, he's a competitor, but also, like we talked about with so many of these guys, intrinsically motivated and recognizing the lessons that he learned about himself this season. And these guys are ready to hit the ground running, get after it, and get to work this offseason to be even better next year.
And you don't want it to end. You don't want to stop being around these teammates. As Mark Daigneault said in his end of season interview, it's like, I wish that we were practicing right now. And not even because they had something to play for, but just to be with the guys and to work on getting better. That's what fuels these players.
They're just, and that's why you can expect, and there's kind of a consistency and a predictability with these guys and their improvement. So a lot to look forward to this offseason. All right, let's get into Bless Your Timeline. Mine, it was so good.
I have 2 dogs, Cane Corso and a Pit Bull and Lab Mix. I don't know. I want to take them to the beach. I want them to see the beach.
Like they were his kids. And I bet you these are basically Aaron's kids, he's a full-on dog dad. He's like, I just want him to see the ocean. I want him to see the water. I want to see what that would be like.
Yeah, I mean, this is a guy who's now a professional basketball player. He played 78 games. He's ready to. I thought that was
so wholesome.
Yeah, he's ready to just be a dog dad and do what he's got to do. It's great.
And it also reminded me that most of these guys have dogs too, and throughout the season they would bring their dogs together to have little dog play dates. And so during the off season it's just gonna be Aaron and his dogs. Yeah, he's gotta get not his teammates. Those dogs, those dogs bark a lot too. But the other 2 dogs.
Hey, speaking of dogs at the beach, what blessed my timeline was Aaron sharing a little story about knowing Lou Dort and meeting him and playing against him at what's called the Iverson Classic.
Okay.
Which is held in Hampton, Virginia, which is right along the beach.
Yep.
Near, Hampton Roads and Virginia Beach and all that kind of stuff.
Hampton University.
Right. Those guys. So Aaron grew up in Maryland, ended up playing at, grew up in North Carolina, played at the University of Maryland. So obviously that kind of mid-Atlantic region. Lou Dort came over from Canada, played high school ball in Florida. Anyway, they ended up playing against each other in this Iverson Classic named after Allen Iverson, who was from the Hampton, Virginia Beach area, Norfolk area. And so anyway, just speaking of dogs at the beach, I thought that was kind of a really fun, nugget of information that this basketball world is so small.
So small.
And these guys who end up becoming teammates end up having similar styles, roles, impact on the team in terms of being, defensive minded, efficient scoring options, hard-nosed players. These guys' paths have all wound together and crossed over the course of time. A kid from Quebec and a kid from Greensboro, North Carolina are intertwined in these ways. It's just really cool the way that basketball does this to
we
people.
think of the massive storylines of Isaiah Joe and Jalen Williams going to the same college, but then these guys, so many of them in the locker room knew each other way back when in high school. Olivier Sarr and Aaron Wiggins have history.
Yeah.
In North Carolina. It's just crazy to think about the tangled web of kind of the degrees of separation with these guys. And it's very, very fascinating. Yeah. And goes to show that, these guys, they've known each other for a while. So a lot of this chemistry too isn't just from this season, but from years before.
It's something that made me realize at the beginning of next season, what we need to do, and actually, another great example was Trey Mann and Keontae Johnson were teammates too. But what we need to do at the beginning of next season is whoever the Thunder brings in, we just need to ask every single player, do you know him? Do you know him?
Have you seen this man?
Do you know this guy before? And on their intro press conference, all right, I'm going to go down the list of Thunder players on the team, rookie that the Thunder drafts or free agent that the Thunder brings in or whatever, did you play with this guy in high school? Were you in homeroom with him in middle school? Did you, did you play against him in college one time ever?
Right. Yeah. Were you arch rivals on AAU teams? What was it?
Yeah.
And this is a really random example, just popped into my head. But even when I got here, okay, and I played, college basketball, I played at 3 different high schools. So the web of basketball runs very wide for me. And I got here and I was doing my research. I realized SGA, Shea played at Hamilton Heights Christian Academy. Right. I played at Lancaster Christian Academy. Hamilton Heights is in Chattanooga. Lancaster's in the Nashville area. We've played Hamilton Heights 15 times. That was one of our go-to teams that we played against so many times. And I was like, what are the odds that this guy from Hamilton, Ontario would find his way to Chattanooga, Tennessee,
of all
places, and then be in these tournaments I was like, wow, that just goes to show.
So would you have played against any of Shea's classmates?
Probably.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, he was on the boys team, but
sure. No, I just mean people that he went to school with. Yeah.
Probably. Yeah, definitely.
Wow.
It was just crazy to think
small
about.
World.
Very small world. Yeah. And then I had to reserve the
what
dislike of Hamilton Heights.
I was going to say, what if some of his friends were talking smack about you to Shea?
Probably.
Hey, those girls from Lancaster.
I remember her.
Yeah,
I remember her.
Yeah.
She's mean out there on the floor.
I didn't like the way that she looked at me on the court. Yeah.
It's very possible. It's very possible. What a small basketball world it is, but what a season for Aaron Wiggins, honestly. It's just always fun to watch him out there on the floor and continue to see the impact that he has in the minutes that he gets.
No doubt.
No doubt going to be an even better player next year as well. But that wraps up this podcast on Aaron Wiggins. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Be sure to rate, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you so much to our producer, Matt Bishop. And until next time, Thunder up and catch you later.